Welcome to Film Phreeks. This is Justin Llewellyn.
And Eddie Williams.
And tonight we're going to be doing another audio review of one of the most anticipated films of 2019 this year. And we're going to be discussing John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, which is the third film in the John Wick franchise, and it's directed by Chad Stahelski, and it stars Keanu Reeves, Halle Berry, Lawrence Fishburne, Mark Dacascos, and among others. And this is now the third film in the John Wick franchise, which literally picks up right at the end of the last film, where John Wick is on the run from everyone that has now brought a $14 million hit out for him to basically in New York City and pretty much everywhere else. And basically, he has to survive. And we'll kind of leave it at there because that's basically the premise of the movie. Now, here's a little backstory. Now, if you remember a couple years ago, we actually did an audio review of John Wick Chapter 2 when that came out. And ever since the first John Wick came out in 2014, I've gotten a kick out of these films every time they bring a new one out. The first John Wick...
the first one... These movies are just like they're on a different level than what you would think. It's kind of hard to explain because while it does have that kind of action formulaic thing, it does something special other films do not do. And when I first saw John Wick, I actually saw that quite late. I think it was you that let me borrow the first movie.
Yeah, I did.
And I fucking ended up saying, "Oh my God, why did I miss this?" And the reason why I didn't watch it because Keanu Reeves, I love him as an actor, and this is his type of role, but he can be very hit and miss. And because of the genre, I remember avoiding it because I thought it would just be your typical action film. And I ended up fucking digging the fucking hell out of the first one.
Oh, I did too.
So that got me hyped when we went and saw Chapter 2. And, man, Chapter 2 fucking just took it to another fucking level. Especially that ending. Now, yes. The ending of that, I noticed a lot of people find controversial. I don't see why, because, for one, I didn't expect that ending. Two, it ends on a cliffhanger of how fucked John Wick is. Yeah,
pretty much. And also, not just that, but the first film, not only, it set up this world that was so fucking, like, grounded and very, in this kind of, criminal organization that really set up so much, like, characterization that I couldn't get enough of. And when the second one came out...
I know, and not only that, they could build so much with this world. And you know what? It's something fresh.
Yeah.
That's what brought that... like I was saying, like, you've seen these type of films, but what it does differently, it brings a fresh universe. Like, you could build so much off of this, which they are going to.
Yeah, and there's even been some talks about...
I like how they keep the hierarchy in kind of in the shadows. You don't know what is what.
Exactly.
And that's what really makes the films intense.
Exactly, and not just that, but it also it sets up the first film. While it had a lot of action, the first film was more about the kind of emotional side to John Wick because him losing his wife and everything.
Yeah, well, the first one was more story driven.
Yeah, the second one showed that they were still taking similar angle with that, but they were really doing it more of the action. And the second one really perpetuated not only like expanding more with the first one and seeing more of what the Continental can do, but it's also you really get into the really like what John Wick himself is capable of when he has to have more stakes, even more higher. And then now with the third film, with this film coming out, I was already fucking hyped because I thought going into myself like, how is John going to get out of this situation now? And boy, after upon seeing this movie, I can say this is probably so far one of the best trilogies I've seen of an action franchise.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. After walking out, man, I can add this to my top 20, top 30 favorite trilogies of all time. This is one of those movies that did a 1, 2, 3 on us.
Oh yeah,
got better and better and better and better. This movie was fucking awesome. I had a fucking blast. Now I'll get in some little nitpicks towards in a little bit on the con part, but overall I enjoyed the Yeah.
I did too.
And you know what's really cool about these films? I really enjoy how they're shot.
Oh, I do too. To get like my pros out of the way, once again, Keanu Reeves outstanding as usual, but it's also it's really cool to see, much like him and Tom Cruise, that he's an actor that puts in so much time into doing like it. Like if you see the behind the scenes and stuff that he uses, he does a lot of great time taking being an expert with not only weapons but also being able to choreograph and fight scenes and everything. And the way that this film.
I like what he does, the Tom Cruise approach for these films. And it's weird because if you go into his filmography, he's the most weird actor ever, because while he does something like this, he puts a lot of time, he also at the same time gets involved with really terrible films.
Yeah, like Replicas from earlier this year.
I like this side of Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, me too. When he's actually in the action department like this in the Matrix trilogy, you know, he really showcases a lot of what he can do as an actor. And this is also not only great with him, you know, in the action department, but in general, like his performance in this really holds strong because his character's always consistent. You know, he's very stoic. He doesn't always talk a lot, but when he does, you know, he's still, you know, the hitman you don't want to fuck with in these movies. And
yes, I do like how also another pro I'd like to get into, like the other cast, all the cast members. You know, you got Lawrence Fishburne making his return, and Ian McKellen, I think that's his name, or
Ian McShane.
What's his name?
Ian McShane.
Yeah, McShane. He comes back. It was good seeing him again. But I was really into that Jericho. What do they call them? That girl.
Yeah, that Sophia girl, Halle Berry's character.
Yeah. They're called not hers.
Oh, okay.
She did. Halle Berry. You know, she had some very bad films. Her last decade just has not been in her favor, but I feel like this is kind of like an introductory of bringing her back.
Yeah, it was.
Into good form.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the Jericho, or whatever they called them. The women who pretty much, there's this woman with short hair that it's like they answer for the
adjudicator.
Table.
The adjudicator.
The Judico, that's what it is.
Judicator.
And basically, what they do is they are higher than the Continental. They go and oversee everything for the head honchos of the high table.
Exactly.
And basically, they call the fucking shots, and basically, what I really got in the story was her going around, you know, closing out who was involved in helping John Wick. That was a pretty cool fucking premise.
Absolutely. I fucking loved her character. Asia Kate Dillon is the person that played her. If you may remember, for those of you who have seen her in like Orange is the New Black, she played one of the prisoners in that show, and she was fucking out like vicious in this movie, man. Like she's.
What's funny, because in 2, didn't they have the other one that was from that show?
Yeah, they had Ruby Rose. She was in the last one.
Ruby Rose. Yeah. So it was kind of funny that they get all the cast from those movies, that TV show on these movies, which is pretty funny. But yeah, she, like, her character and that introductory of that higher group that's
the high table
overseas, and the high table, like they speak for them as in they go to all the Continentals, and pretty much shit fucking hits the fucking fan on it.
Yeah, they do.
I'm talking about even Continentals are fucking falling apart. Like, this shit is fucking epic, man. And I loved how they just started right off the fucking bat from part 2.
Oh yeah, dude.
He is desperate.
Yeah, he's only got 1 hour left before they start the hit on him, and like you can see, like it already gets you fucking pumped from the beginning, because this movie has nonstop action throughout that was not only fucking brutal, but I mean on the most like brutality, this is probably my favorite. But as far as like scale, 2 had a little bit like better like cinematography wise as far as like some of the set pieces. But 3 actually put like the highest body count. Like you're seeing motherfuckers getting blown to bits, fucking shot in the heads multiple times. Like this.
Oh my god! You saw that one guy get his eyeball like it stabbed through his eyeball.
Yeah.
Like the fucking brutality in this film does top all of them.
Oh yeah.
I will say another thing, and it's weird not seeing a club scene in this one, which was kind of weird. But I will say, for what it's worth, I still love they kept the whole nightlife, neon light look to it.
Yeah, especially
is great.
Yeah, the final climax that goes down that we won't spoil, but when it gets to the final climax, it's in this kind of like similar area that was kind of from the end of part 2 that I thought was very pretty, and it really like captured the like so much like great cinematography in that scene, and the choreography was great.
And that glass east thing where you don't know they're there. That was pretty fucking trippy.
Yeah, it was.
That's actually, you know what? Another thing I'd really like to say, the Jericho girl, that's Judico, whatever you call them, when she ends up having to get her own army, she builds some like a group of men to go do her dirty work. And them fucking Asian dudes, I will tell you right now, them fucking ninjas that get hired to go after John Wick, their stealth is some of the best fucking dark stealth I've ever seen. Yeah,
these guys are like ninja assassins, and they're fucking vicious. The main guy, Mark...
Oh my God, vicious.
The main guy, Mark DeCoscos, I've seen him in a lot of other stuff. He's a famous martial artist, and I actually find him kind of an underrated actor, because I've seen him in like other stuff in the past, but this was like his like biggest movie in years, and he did fucking great in this movie.
Oh, dude. Their stealth, the way they were blending in with the darkness and just fucking slaughtering people left and right. Yeah. So basically, not to spoil much on detail, but there's a big deal with this judo girl where she's going around to all the old people that worked with Wick. And not to spoil any more of that, but the fucking story. Let's just say that I will appreciate one thing. I gotta probably put praise the highest. I loved how vulnerable fucking John Wick was in this.
He was.
He got hurt bad.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, and there's even one part that later comes across in the film that you really feel like this is the end of him. And now I'm kind of a little bit mixed on it, just a kind of minor nitpick when this part happens, because it kind of impacts like the overall story itself, but I still like the way they push more of that, because really, like, every scene when John Wick is pretty much, having to get more guys on, like, fucking throw them around and trying to kill them and stuff, like, it's a matter of time that he's having to survive like fucking crazy.
I did appreciate how they made the villains towards the end really hard for John Wick.
Yeah.
I was kind of skeptical that they were going to go overboard and let John Wick just smooth right through. But them fucking, that final, like, where they're fighting, man, he's having a hard time fucking beating even the first level guys.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this guy, like, these guys that they actually get involved with, they're fucking, like, they know that they're fucking with the boogeyman, so it's like, whoa, here we go.
And I will say, there are some parts with that Asian guy, the assassin dude, that come off kind of funny as shit.
Yeah, especially, like, this part where you see in the trailer where he's kind of, like, talking to John in the Continental Hotel and everything, and it's just the dialogue, the way it goes across. It's something I can actually buy. Like that's something that these characters would say. Yeah,
and there was some actual shit that happens. Some of like the cast we've been following with John Wick throughout the whole thing that went like fucking like, oh my god.
Yeah, definitely. So, and the other biggest praise I'll have to say the most is. Going back to Halle Berry, another thing that I appreciate with her character was that her fucking dogs that she has, like, they steal almost a lot of action scenes in this. I was like fucking blown away by that.
They're choreographed really well too.
Oh yeah, dude, definitely. Now, if I had like really,
yeah, I mean the brutality is good. There's just so much to talk about it.
Yeah, and the way that now this is kind of where we lead, not really into really much of a con, but really more of a kind of a minor nitpick. So as much as I like the way that the film like ends the way it should, I did feel like it could have ended a little better than the direction they were kind of going with, because now
Thank you. you, because I thought wasn't the only one that I thought I was going to be the only one that just like have a kind of a little problem with the ending. Like you said, it's not like it ruins the film because the film is so fun and just so watchable. You're just loving every minute of it. But that ending, now I get that John Wick, you know, they play some unrealistic shit, and 99.9% of it I can give it a pass because it's John Wick. But there's something that happens to John Wick towards the end. I found, and it's the very fucking end, I found fucking really unrealistic. Even on a unrealistic movie, this was a little too overboard.
Yeah, I did feel like it was. It
starts going like kind of almost supernatural shit.
Yeah, and I will admit that while it does kind of play into a nice tribute toward another film that Keanu Reeves was in, I did feel like it was a little out there because it made the dilemma a little like questionable, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, but
and there's this, it's kind of, I'm not going to spoil what it is, but there's something I also caught, and this is actually a nitpick. And this director, I guess, not paying close attention, he wasn't focusing on this particular scene. Something happens to John to where he has to try to get back into the Continental good terms, and he has to go to the desert, and something happens where he has to give up something. And well, in the fight, there was something that's supposed to be missing that actually I saw in that scene. I was like, "Ooh, you messed up." I saw his, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, you can actually see in that final fight. I'm like, it's supposed to be missing.
Yeah, I got you on that.
You know? Yeah, I did catch that. I do like the actual very, very ending, like pretty much, you know, there's something it sets up something big time, like we're talking about like Infinity War type shit.
Yeah, you know, which I actually am down for, like if they do make more movies, but at the same time, like it really felt like there's something they could have went a little different with, in my opinion. As much as
I do agree with you. There's also that one thing where, you know, with the Ian character and him, and, you know, something at the beginning, and then it's like you can tell in the trailers, like, they're kind of reconciling, you know, like, getting back together type thing.
Yeah.
And they pull something towards the end. I just didn't, I thought they were doing too much of that betrayal shit. I think that should never have happened at the end.
Yeah, I got you.
I mean, so that kind of, I was like, it didn't really. It's like they're trying to do too much.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, it should have went a different direction. But overall, I mean, still, I get into the movie so much. I loved it. It's just, you know, it's just more like, I wish it would have went this. I wish it would have not done that type situation.
Right, I got you. But overall, though, like I can honestly say that, you know, I'm so glad that we live in an age where, you know, Keanu Reeves, that he'll be doing these kind of movies for a long time, like these kind of action movies. I still want to see him do more. Like,
it's weird. He does a movie like this, but then he also did a fucking shit movie called Replica.
I know.
It's like, that's the Keanu Reeves I don't get. Because when he actually does something cool like John Wick, which to me I find one of his best roles other than Matrix, his best performance is probably personally my favorite is John Wick. I just don't understand somebody like that can go from that and then do shit like Replicas in the same fucking year, every year.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I would, if he was to bring back, like, his old franchise in the future, I mean, I would like to see him do probably a true sequel to Speed, or maybe even, like, you know, another Matrix sequel or something, you know, because the guy puts himself into situations and he really goes for it and does it like old school filmmaking, where you're actually seeing the fights and everything, and actually, you know, having his team go with the choreography well. So, But overall, like I got a kick out of this movie a lot, and you know it's definitely one of the best films of the year for me. Probably my second favorite film of the year after Endgame.
Same here. Same here.
So with that being said, I'm going to give this movie a phenomenal grade on the Film Phreeks meter.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a standard phenomenal grade in Film Phreeks meter. It wasn't high, it wasn't low. It's just regular film, phenomenal grade. Like you said, second favorite film of this year.
Yeah, and it's probably my second favorite John Wick film.
I'm glad that they were able to still keep up making these movies even better as they go.
Absolutely, and so if it ranks like out of the other two, I'd probably put this one a little bit like mine would go like Chapter 2, Chapter 3, and then the first one. So that's how I kind of feel.
Yeah, Chapter 2 at least was like a very completed film. A lot of people actually think 2 was actually the lowest, and I don't get why.
Yeah.
I don't get why. I saw a lot of people, but everybody's got their own opinions. But yeah, I got 2 and 3 pretty much up there in 1, but pretty much they're all pretty much the same in their own way. They're all fucking great.
Absolutely, and for those
two dominated the ending a lot better than the other 2.
Absolutely. Fair enough. For those of you who have also seen John Wick Chapter 3, let us know in the comments below of what you thought about it, and also the other films of the other John Wick movies. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe to our channel, and check us on other reviews here and our website at filmphreeks.com, and we'll be seeing you in our next review. We'll see you later.
Later.